On that day, with falcons as messengers and blossoms as witnesses, a luxious carriage made its way into the notorious 5丨Alley, where a young general was to marry a courtesan, an event rarely seen. Disguised, I slipped into the alley, coldly observing the spectacle. Adrian rode a magnificent horse straight to the Moonrise Manor, brandishing 1,000 silver coins, arrogantly demanding to buy her freedom. I demand to see the master of this manor. This should be more than enough to buy Seraphina's freedom. How could that be enough? A clear male magnetic voice drifted down from the upper floor. Pale fingers parted the curtain, revealing a face of unparalleled beauty. It was my first time seeing the master of Moonrise Manor. His jet black hair and crimson lips, with long eyes drooping slightly with a trace of red at the corners, held an air of both elegance and nonchalance. As he moved, dressed in white robes, I realized that true beauty transcends gender. The handsome boss tapped his fan lightly against his chin, his eyes curving into a smile. Seraphina is the most enchanting of all the girls at Moonrise Manor. The line of men wanting to be with her could stretch to the neighboring kingdoms. How could mere silver buy her freedom? Adrian's smile faltered, his face stiffening. Then how much do you want? The beauty unfolded his fan with a lazy smile. I've heard that General Adrian turned down the king's reward of gold and land to marry this woman as your second wife. Such devotion must be worth at least 10,000 gold pieces. The entire 5丨Alley watched the scene unfold. Although they didn't know the history between them, it was clear the handsome boss was humiliating Adrian. A strange sense of satisfaction welled up in me as Adrian's lips twitched. For the sake of his pride, he gritted his teeth and agreed. In front of everyone, he signed and sealed the contract, paying 10,000 gold pieces to buy back Seraphina's freedom. This was his entire savings from 2 years of military service and rewards, plus a substantial loan. Yet, despite his triumph, the boss's demeanor was chillingly indifferent to the money. He instructed his men to count it with a detached air, barely glancing as he sneered. You're fortunate to have regained the beauty. With an air of haughty disdain, he crumpled the contract and flung it over the high balcony, watching as it tumbled into the void below. Take her away. If there was a way to shatter a man's spirit, this was it. With this act, Seraphina's status was firmly entrenched and known by all. After the grand wedding, her boldness grew even more audacious. She marched into my courtyard with an imperious air, demanding tokens of Adrian's affection that he had once bestowed upon me. Her voice was a sharp command as she insisted I return every memento, as if reclaiming them would seal her victory and further cement her newfound power. The general has declared that we are meant to be together for life. You may stay in the manor, but don't cling to any illusions. You and the general are no different than being divorced. Facing her provocation, I smiled faintly. So be it. I only hope he truly cherishes you. Seraphina, eager to prove her point, said. He gave up all his military achievements just to make me his equal wife. If that isn't true love, what is? I didn't respond. Instead, I pointed to the wooden box on the ground, where all the hairpins and jade ornaments Adrian had given me were stored. Please hand these back to him. I lowered my gaze. It's just a shame that the kites he made for me, the summer fireflies he placed in my hands, the hurried love letters from the battlefield, those can never be returned. In the past, Adrian would rise before dawn to train, regardless of the weather, and I would silently accompany him, handing him a towel when he was done. I knew he was the backbone of the kingdom, the guardian of the realm. But now, he spent day and night wrapped up in Seraphina's company, taking potions to boost his stamina. It was as if he had been drained of life. Dark circles formed under his eyes, despite being only in his 20s. As my morning sickness worsened, I had Liana procure a potion to terminate the pregnancy and arrange for a medical retreat. During this time, I had been secretly poisoning Adrian's food with a concoction to render him infertile, ensuring he could no longer father children. It was time to end this. That day, while Adrian and Seraphina were lost in their daytime pleasures, I took the divorce papers I had already prepared, stamped them with Adrian's seal in his study, and left decisively. As I reached the door, a sudden, excruciating pain gripped my abdomen, and I felt warm, sticky blood flowing down. I was struck by a sudden realization. How could this be? I hadn't taken the potion yet. Who had poisoned me? Soon, Adrian rushed out, panic written all over his face when he saw me lying in a pool of blood. Alara, what's happening? Then, with a loud thud, Adrian was kicked to the ground, coughing up blood. The pain was overwhelming, and as I curled up on the ground, tears blurred my vision. A cold drop fell on my eyelid, but it wasn't my own. "Don't be afraid. I'll take you away." I was lifted into warm arms, the heat of his body nearly stealing my breath. For a brief moment, my vision cleared enough to see the face of the man holding me. It was the beautiful master from Moonrise Manor, whom I had glimpsed that day.